Markets are continuing to struggle, and the contagion in the crypto space is still working its way through the system. So let's take a look at what's going on. Yesterday, we had the Fed minutes come out that kind of dented the markets a little bit. The markets have been down pretty much all day today, finishing 1% down on the Dow, 1.1 on the S&P, 1.4 on the NASDAQ, almost 1.5% on the NASDAQ. And the jobs report that came out today kind of took the steam out of the sails of the market and sent it plunging, because a good, like we talked about in yesterday's video, a good jobs market, a strong labor market continues to create problems for the Fed in terms of inflation. They need a softer job market. They need balance. And I don't know that they're going to be able to fix that. I don't know that anything the Fed can do is going to be able to fix it. We're seeing some layoffs. Obviously, Amazon just announced some layoffs, but they're a huge employer. They can trim 10, 15, 20,000 jobs, and that's not a meaningful amount in terms of inflation, in terms of that company and their overall payroll. A lot of those jobs can be replaced pretty quickly. Those individuals can find other jobs very quickly because there's still so many jobs out there. So in other news today, Bed Bath & Beyond is signaling potential bankruptcy. So those shares plunged. Silvergate Capital dropped 42% after it disclosed major customer withdrawals. And in other news, in the crypto space, crypto lender Genesis Trading is laying off 30% of its workforce. There's continuing issues with Genesis and the crypto contagion and fallout with FTX that continues to work its way through the system. We haven't seen the end of any of that yet. It's just early stages of the crypto winter. It's only been about a year. So it's going to take some time for these things to work out and for the junk to be cleared out of the system and for the market to rebalance, consolidate, and be ready for the next run. We'll take a look at that here in a second in the charts. And here's the Dow right here, continuing to kind of range, hasn't really lost or gained any ground, just kind of ranging in here for the last 7 to 10 days. Let's see what this range is. Really, it's about a 1.8% range, so not a lot of huge volatility there. NASDAQ, same thing, kind of up and down here, working in a range overall of about 3.5%, but really a tight little range, again, about 1.5 to 2%. S&P, same thing, still kind of ranging as markets try to gain some momentum to put a little bit of a bounce in, but the Fed stamped that out. The labor market jobs report stamped that out. So hopefully we'll get a good inflation report, which could provide a little steam for the market, a little wind in the sails of the market. Here's the VIX, same thing, consolidating right here, putting in somewhat of a little diamond pattern. So we'll just see what that results in. Again, a pop in the VIX means markets are going down. A drop in the VIX means markets are going up. The dollar bouncing and getting a little bit of a rebound today. The 10-year bouncing right here in this range after a little bit of a reversal. So we'll see if that trend continues. And here's what we talked about earlier. Bed Bath & Beyond had a nice little plunge today on bankruptcy fears. Let's see what that looked like. Overall, dropped about 34%. And then Silvergate was the big loser of the day, dropping overall. It had a little rebound the other day, dropping about 48% in whole. Again, bankruptcy fears there. So we'll see how these things play out. And if they continue on, let's take a look at Bitcoin here. And I've kind of marked out some trends that Bitcoin's been following, finding support on these levels, working to the next leg down, kind of ranging. Do Kwon, Michael Saylor, those areas, working its next range down, kind of finding support here, dropping, and just kind of, leveling down as the crypto winter continues and more things continue in the space. Not a whole lot of action in Bitcoin right now, but, these levels here, these, rising channels, wedges, whatever you want to call them, have all been breaking to the downside. And I think there's a lot of, technical confluence out there for the next leg down in the markets to that 14, 15, 12, 13, 14,000 to 15,500 range to drop down to the next level like we've seen here, and then kind of start ranging at that next level down in the, let's take a look at it here, to get it down to about 14.5, 13.5. that'd be about another 18 to 20% drop in Bitcoin to get it there. And when you look at where we are in the cycle, being only 1 year in, and go back and compare it to the last bear market cycle of 2017, 2018, and look at how long this whole thing took to play out overall. Basically from December 2017, the first bottom was put in a year later in 2018, and then the second bottom put in February, a few months later in 2019, and a little bit of ranging sideways until March, April, until the markets kind of found some sort of footing. So a lot of times, markets will find bottoms in March, April timeframe, but this is a very different time, a lot of different things going on in the markets and a lot of repricing. Bitcoin is at the point of some of these other longer consolidations before the next leg down. Let's just take a look at these and see how long these last here. And let's see, that first one was right before a big breakdown, was right around 104 days. The second one was much shorter. Let's look at this one here. This big one before a little bit of a breakdown was about 101 days overall. That was just a small leg down. So this range here was basically 50 days. And let's see what we're into right now in terms of this consolidation right here is about 56 days. So we've had some 50-day consolidations and we've had some 105-day consolidations. This one was 30 days in this area here. This first one up here, price ranged till, it was about 30 days. So 30 days here, 100 and something, 50 days here, 100 and something, depending on how you calculate this. And so far, only about, 50 days in right here, right now, 55 days in. So price could continue to kind of consolidate here, put a base in, drop to the next level, do the same thing. And then ultimately, that's where you want to be, right? So you want to ultimately get to the bottom of the market where the price can kind of figure out that lower end of the range, and somewhere around that $10,000 to $12,000, maybe $13,000 level, assuming nothing else happens, no other big issues. I think price can kind of, start, consolidating and accumulating in that range for the next run up and the next leg up to start weathering the storm and reversing trend, looking for the next bull run and come back and test some of these levels. I don't know how far the price can go. A lot of these prices here were driven by the mass liquidity in the markets that we saw, the $2 trillion pumped into the markets. So all of the markets went on this mass bull run from, 2020 on. So the question is, can Bitcoin, get back and hit these $60,000 levels? Or, is this 20,000, 30,000? What's a realistic expectation this year for Bitcoin? Once it does put that base in, consolidate a little bit, accumulate, and go on the next run. The thing is that a lot of people are afraid of the space. A lot of people are worried about the space. They don't know where to buy it, what to do with it once they do buy it. They don't know what exchange to trust. They don't know what stable coin to trust. So it's difficult times for the crypto space. So it's got to work all that out, build trust again back to the public, recycle a lot of the capital in the market. In other words, you need new investors to come in, get comfortable with the space, new capital to come in order for the price to rise. That's the crypto market, right? Price consolidates and accumulates, starts to go on a run. There's a lot of momentum built, a lot of people hyping the space up. Price hits these huge numbers, everybody's taking profits, price falls down, people lose trust, get scared. So price has to accumulate for a while and kind of base for a while for new capital to come back in the space so it can go on the run again and do it all over again, which is the stock market does kind of the same thing. Spends most of its time going up, 80, 90% of the time going up, or 60 or 70% of the time going up, whatever it is. And, a very short amount of time going down, but sometimes those downtrends they can last a while and they can be deep. And as we've looked at in the charts, it was 5-6 years it took for the markets to recover back after the 2009 financial crisis. But that was a banking crisis, much different. The economy is a lot stronger now. The consumer is a lot stronger. That's why I think it's going to be difficult for the Fed to get control of the labor market and get control ultimately of inflation, because they just can't. Unless they really let this thing go, they really aren't going to be able to put a dent in that labor market as strong as it is right now, unless something is done at scale to fix that. So those are my thoughts, the things that I'm looking at. The question is, how far and how high could Bitcoin go from here? we'll just have to wait and see. The problem is there are a lot of people that bought in at 30, 40, 50,000 that are going to want to take profits as soon as we get back to those levels. So it's going to be a lot of resistance. And that's what resistance is, right? Resistance is selling, support is buying. So there's a lot of people waiting to cash out, waiting for Bitcoin and crypto to get back to those levels. Some of the crypto tokens are not going to make it. Some of them are just going to kind of go away and lose their steam and lose their momentum. Other ones will still do well and survive, and that have good use cases and have a good following and a good community and network. But the ones that are just meme coins and things like that eventually are just going to fade away potentially. They might go on runs here or there as the market makers get in there, participants like we saw with Alameda and FTX will pump the prices on those things and suck people in and drain the liquidity and pull the rug out from under them. So a lot of that's going on in the space. So a lot of that stuff has to be cleaned out. We need regulation. We need clarity, and you need trust built back in the space for it to go back on these runs again. But as we go back on the runs, it's going to be difficult to get through those levels because there's going to be a lot of people selling, which is your resistance. So that's just how it is. So those are the things I'm looking at. If you're new to the channel, I talk about all things entrepreneurship, real estate. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I've been building companies, buying buildings, scaling, selling companies, buying and investing in real estate stocks, cryptos, businesses in real estate for over 30 years, stocks since 2009. That's when I entered the market for the first time, crypto since 2016. So I talk about all of these things on my YouTube channel and all my social media. I do keep comments off because there's too many scams out there and spam bots still. Whenever I try to turn comments on, you're instantly hit with them. So I just keep them off for now because I don't want anybody to get taken advantage of. And they are very good. They're even showing up on Facebook now, which is something you never saw before. So impersonating me and taking over your profile and doing that kind of stuff. So it's really crazy that these tech platforms have not figured out how to stop those fake accounts. But anyways, until they resolve that, comments are going to have to stay off so that we don't have any of those issues. But anyways, that's what it's all about. Entrepreneurship, real estate investing, stock markets, crypto, leadership, mindset. I cover all those things on this channel. So there's playlists that you can check out with all the different things that I do and talk about on there that I've been doing, for over 30 years as a serial entrepreneur, investor, real estate developer, things like that. And again, market participant since 2009 and crypto participant really since following since 2016, started dipping my toe in 2018, 2019. And so that's my story. That's what this channel is all about. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you're getting value out of it. Check out the playlist. These are the things that I am looking at and thinking about in the markets. I'll see you on the next video.